Hey everybody, it's Mike. I'm back, and gonna do the little Hare Krishna thing here. So okay, I hope you can hear me. Okay, all right. So Hare Krishna and Scientology. We're gonna talk about the founder of the Hare Krishna, this crazy friggin' Swami guy. We're gonna do that, but first, I got a brand new opening, and I'm really excited about doing this opening. So let's get right to that. How's that? Here we go. Hello?
Hello.
Wow, how exciting was that? Oh man, I just woo. So yeah, let's get into it with this Swami. So the first thing I don't even know where to start with this guy, but I guess I'm going to start um, with some propaganda from the cult that they made about this guy, and we're just going to take a minute or two to look at this, so you can see how they glorify this guy like he's a friggin' god and everything, and then I'll comment on that. So let's see. Here we go.
In 1965, an elderly gentleman stood on the deck of a freighter in Boston Harbor and wrote this prayer. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. 12 years later, Hare Krishna was a household word. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had been more than successful. He had founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, a worldwide confederation of over 100 ashrams, schools, temples, and farm communities.
Okay, okay. Let me just stop right there. First of all, this guy was not a success in any in any in your wildest interpretation of success. Even success would have to mean failure in order for you to say that this guy was a success. Everything he did was a failure. He failed at his magazine, Back to Godhead magazine, that he started publishing in India. That was a failure. His chemistry business, making ointment and toothpaste, that was a failure. So he couldn't do that. He wrote 3 volumes of books. He couldn't sell them. He couldn't do anything with them. He lugged them to America with him on a ship. He came to America on a ship with his books pretty much because he was a failure. He couldn't get anything going. He couldn't get anything going in India. He said, "Let me go to America and try." Well, he was pretty much a failure there because the only people he got to follow him in America, in New York, were some hippies and some drug addicts and some beatniks. Well, that's hardly a success. And then those guys that did follow him, that stuck with him, ended up going nuts and being failures themselves. Some of them ran off with underage girl. One of them ran off with an underage girl. I don't know how many total ran off with underage girls, but at least one did. At least two, more than two, but two that I know of, were raping little boys. And more. At least three or four were raping little boys. And then at least two that I know of were physically beating kids. I'm not talking about adults fighting with grown teenagers. I'm talking about grown men beating little kids. Doing these gurus, these guys, he was not a success. How do you call that a success? He started a school. Almost every kid in the school was friggin' damaged. If not sexually abused, physically abused. And if not sexually and physically abused, mentally abused. And almost all of them were starved and just, I can't even comprehend the childhood that was stolen from these kids and replaced with a brutality. And I can't, my mind, it won't even let me go there to think what these animals were doing to these kids. And they got the nerve to say that this guy was a success, that he opened schools around the world and he did all this stuff. He damaged people, little kids, he damaged them forever. And their parents, including me and my daughter. Well after he's dead, he's still causing damage to people that are coming into his fucking movement, his fucking cult, not knowing what they're getting into. And they're coming in there with their kids, or having kids, and kids are being abused and molested, and women are being abused and victimized. To this day. And this guy's been dead for 50 fucking years. Fucking disgusting. And they got the nerve to make a movie talking about he was a success and he did this and that. They leave out the part about all the abused kids, all the families torn apart, all the parents looking for their kids, ran off and joined the Hare Krishna temple, never heard from them again because the temple shipped them off to India. They leave all that shit out. There's a buzz. Oh, wow. Hey, Siraj Kumar. Hey, how you doing? Great to see you there. And hi, yes, there's a buzz. Is that a buzz in the audio? You know, I just tested the audio and it was fine. I don't know. I don't know what the problem would be if there's a buzz. I really apologize. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Um,
and had made the chanting of Hare Krishna familiar to millions of people. He had written and published over 80 volumes of translation and commentary on self-realization, which are now standard in universities and libraries around the world. And he had gathered about him thousands of dedicated disciples.
okay. So, as far as the books go, they make it sound like his books are. They make it sound like his books are in universities and colleges around the world and they're used as textbooks. That they're not. They convinced universities and colleges to put their books in their library, but their books are not used. They're not scholarly books that are renowned for anything other than being written by this friggin' cult leader. What's your thoughts on Srila Prabhupada? He's a fucking pedophile. What do you... He said himself, my wife was 11 years old and I was 22. And I took her hand. She didn't know what was going on. And she cried. And he laughed. And he shared this with his disciples. This was something that he shared with his disciples. Just openly shared the fact. He was proud of it. He was proud that his wife was 11 years old. And he was a 22-year-old man. As if because it was a culture or something. No. It's not because it was 1910 or 1890 or whatever. It's because he thinks it was Vedic. And he didn't care what the law was. And he still doesn't care what the law is. He put in his books that 11-year-old girls should be married to grown men. 25-year-old men. And little girls. So what do I think of that guy? I think he fucking should rot in hell. That's what I think. I think he's a fucking disgusting piece of shit. Women are less intelligent. Women are foolish. Women are fools. The fuck is that? Because you couldn't satisfy your wife? Because you didn't know how to fucking fall in love with a woman? Or have a woman fall in love with you? Because you're so fucking emotionally stunted as a human being that you don't understand how a man and a woman can fall in love and have loving exchanges and loving feelings for each other? Because you fucking can't? Because you had sex with an 11-year-old girl when you were 22 years old and she thought you were fucking sick for that and she hated you for the rest of your life, which I don't blame her. And call yourself a Swami, call yourself a friggin' guru, spiritual leader. You're a fucking disgusting creep, piece of shit. Put in your books that women like to be raped. Women are less intelligent. There's 3 things you can beat: a drum, a dog, and a woman. That's this guy that they're talking about in this movie, like he's friggin' the second coming of Christ. The guy said it's okay to beat women. It's okay to rape them. It's okay to beat them. Neglected the children in his school. What do I think of this guy? Gotta be out of your fucking mind. fucking nut. This Prabhupada was a nut. Listen to this shit that he says. Talking about... You listen to this and you tell me.
This is a conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit, 5,000 years ago, he was the emperor of the whole world. Formerly, up to 5,000 years ago, the whole world was being controlled and ruled over by kings whose capital was Hastinapur, New Delhi. There was only one flag, only one ruler, one scripture, Vedic scripture, and the Aryans, the Arya, they were the civilized persons. You, Europeans, Americans, you are also Aryans, Indo-European stock. Maharaj Tejasi, grandson of Maharaj Parikshit, he gave to his two sons the portion of Eastern Europe, Greek and Roman.
Okay. So this basically what he's saying is, this is basically white supremacy is what he's saying, right? So he's saying that first of all, he's living in a fantasy world. There was no Maharaj Parikshit that was the emperor of the world 5,000 years ago. There's no evidence of that. It didn't happen. It's a story written by people that lived in caves. Just stories. It didn't happen. There was no Maharaj Parikshit. There was no Sukadeva Goswami. These are imaginary people that are characters in an imaginary story. There was no Maharaj Parikshit 5,000 years ago. He was not the king of the world. He did not have two sons, and he gave half the world to one son and half the world to the white people, the Aryans. You Americans, Europeans, you're from those people, those white people. There was no Maharaj Parikshit. Look at this. This is the foolishness. That's like saying there was a Zeus and a Poseidon. I mean, it's insanity. And these people, there are people that believe this. There was no Maharaj Parikshit that ruled the world. Anyway, I'm not here to debate that. I'm here to show you how fucking stupid it is. And these people want to believe it, that's fine. You don't have to. It's total foolishness. There's absolutely zero evidence for any of this crap in these books, except in this motherfucking stupid, creepy pedophile's mind. This guy who wants to fucking say it's okay for grown men to have sex with little girls. If you're believing in Jesus Christ, why do you want to believe in Jesus Christ? It's another story. All these stories. You're going to say because there are people that believe this story, well then therefore you should believe this story? Now, what, am I going to believe The Hobbit too? The Hobbit and Star Wars? I'm just going to believe every fucking story that you throw in front of me? For no fucking reason? I can't believe people in the year 2025 believe in these fucking stories. The guy was in a whale for 3 days. Guy parted the ocean, parted the sea, came down with tablets, talked to a burning bush. A guy's playing a flute and the sound goes into the ear of a four-headed guy that's growing out of a flower, that's growing out of the stomach of a four-armed guy that's sleeping on a friggin' snake that's his brother. You want me to believe that shit? Come on, man. The fuck out of my chat. That crap. You want me to sit here and debate some stupid ass shit like that? That the world is flat and sitting on 4 elephants? You want me to believe that too? And there's friggin' elephants in orbit keeping the earth stationary that we can't see? Fucking celestial elephants counterweight for the earth? The fuck are you, stupid? Fuck you. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here if you don't like my language. I don't have the fucking time for you. You want me to ban your ass? You're gonna leave on your own. I got time for this shit. You're gonna talk about my language while this motherfucker is fucking talking about men should be having sex with little girls, and you're talking about my language? What the fuck? These gurus are raping little boys, raping little girls, and you got the nerve to sit there and bitch about my language? The fuck? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Son of a bitch, man. He don't give a fuck about all the little boys that were raped. Doesn't give a fuck about all the little girls that were raped. All the girls that were married off to grown men, 13 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, shipped off to India so some grown man can have sex with them. He don't give a fuck about that. But he's going to complain about my language. Fuck you. The fuck out of here. Grow some fucking balls and stand up for what's right. Fucking piece of shit. Oh, damn it. So anyway, you can hear Prabhupada talking about, we're going to listen to Prabhupada talk about women's lib and women and how this is what he thinks. This is what the cult thinks of women. And let me go ahead and I'm going to...
Here's another one on that line.
Hmm?
Here's another one kind of on that line. But how do you feel about women's lib?
He wants to know about the women's liberation. What is our feeling about women?
That I don't want to discuss because they, as you have asked, I may explain that how foolish women are being cheated by the intelligent man.
Srila Prabhupada is liberating everybody who chants Hare Krishna.
They have given in your country, they have given you liberty. Liberty means equal rights, is it not? Man and woman has got equal rights.
They're trying.
Huh?
They're trying in this country.
All right, trying. But you, woman, you cannot see that this so-called equal right means cheating the woman. Now I say more clearly that a woman and man meets, now they become lovers, then they have sex, and the woman becomes pregnant, and the man goes up. The simple woman, she has to take charge of the child and beg from government, alms, please give me money. This is your independence. Do you admit this is independence? That the man makes the woman pregnant and he goes away without any responsibility. And the woman cannot give up the child. She maintains begging from the government. Or she tries to kill the child. Do you think it is very good independence? What is your answer?
To whether or not it's good to kill a child?
Yes, they are killing now. About child.
Do you think this is independence?
Wants to know your opinion of that kind of independence.
For the child?
For the woman, for the woman.
Or the woman.
This is liberation. She has an affair with the man, she gets pregnant, the man leaves, then she has to beg alms from the government to support the child.
Or
Or she
kill.
kills the child. So is that good or bad?
Well, she has made the choice.
That means that is 34 hours. You have made your choice to kill your own child. Is that very good choice?
So there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, his views are basically that a woman, her only function is to have a child, and if a man, so women's liberation is, it screws that all up, because if the man can now, in this old Indian's brain, he's thinking women have liberation. So his argument against women's liberation is, well, now a man can have sex with you and get you pregnant, and he can just go away. And now you have to either raise the child on your own or beg from the government or kill your child. Abortion. Kill the baby. He's saying, what kind of liberation is that? What good is that? He can't think beyond how a woman fits into his chauvinistic life. How a woman is just a man's property. So now you're taking this property away from him. He can't, which is what a lot of men were dealing with up until women's liberation, up until this time. But he can't even comprehend that, because he never had, first of all, there's a lot to unpack here. He never had a loving relationship with a woman. He raped an 11-year-old girl when he was 22 years old. Okay, so that means by the time she was 5 years, he's 27. She's only 16. Now, I understand, like, she's more mature because she's a wife now. But she's 16, he's 27. And it just keeps going on. Like, he's 30-something, she's still not even... She's 30-something years old, she's barely 20 years old. But he never fell in love with her. She never fell in love with him. They never had any loving. He said himself. It's not like I'm making it up. He said, I never liked my wife. So he can't even comprehend of a woman. He can't even understand. He failed at having a loving relationship with a woman. He doesn't understand that. His idea of women's liberation is, well, now a man can use you with no repercussions, and then he can just go away. But he married his disciples to women, and then he just gave his disciples sannyas and sent them away, and left so many women with children and no husband. So he brought them together and he split them up by giving the husband, making them a monk, because they would come to him the same way he did. They felt the same way he did. I wanted to get married. I got married. Wasn't what I wanted. So now I don't want to get married. I don't want to have a wife anymore. So then Prabhupada would send, okay, here, go to Spain. Open a temple in Spain and go preach. And your wife can just, whatever. And now you're Swami dickhead, whatever. He didn't care. He didn't care about those women. Because in his fantasy world, it's Vedic. In his fantasy world, it was Vedic. This is what they used to do. Because he didn't love his wife. He didn't care. He didn't care about his kids. He's not going to care about somebody else's kids. He was no lover of children and open up a school because he was so magnanimous. Such a great, I'm going to open up a school and educate children and whatever. Open up a hospital. He never did that. He opened up temples. He put all his money into building big temples in his name, so he'd be remembered. He didn't build any hospitals. He didn't build anything to help anybody, to do anything. He just help himself, to sell my books, rake in money, so I can fly around the world and just live like a friggin' king. But that's this guy. And he's a guy that never had a loving relationship with a woman, didn't like his wife. He raped her when he was 22, when she was 11 years old. So what does he know about sex? What does he know about falling in love? How does a 22-year-old man fall in love with an 11-year-old girl? And I know everyone's going, well, that was back then. But he wanted that for now. They're doing that now. Was just as weird back then as it is now. Just that everybody was doing it back then and nobody said anything. But now you got a whole bunch of people that are like, hey, that's weird. So you can't do it anymore. But you still do it. It's like polygamy with the Mormons. They're not supposed to be doing it, but they're doing it. That's why I'm saying and that this all ties in. ties into these people that are joining this cult today in these countries where they don't know what's going on. They don't know that when their little girls, boys, get put in those schools, when their gurus convince them, I need you to go do this. And your kids are old enough to go into the school. And they're gonna trust them. I trusted that I was like, who's gonna hurt my daughter? I thought who's gonna hurt her? Not the temple president. He's not the teacher of the school. Not the teacher's assistant. I was right there. It wasn't a boarding school. It wasn't like she was in India. It's not like she was thousands of miles away. She's 2 buildings over. That's how dangerous it is. This is not a joke. They're like 11 years old. The little girls can't play with the little boys anymore. Why? Because they're women now. They can't. 11, 12 years old. They can't climb trees anymore like they were doing. My daughter. They're like. They told her, you can't. She grew up. She went from being 6, 7 to being 11, 12. Like, no, you can't do these things anymore. Because Prabhupada says 11, 12 years old, they're grown. When he says in his books, grown women, girls grown, but not till they're grown. He's talking about 12, 13. He's not talking about 18. When he's talking about the gopis were grown or this or that, he's not talking about 18, 21. That's in our world. We go, adulthood. 18, 21. Not in Vedic culture. Vedic culture, these little girls are married, like they can get married at like 9 years old, and then they don't have sex until they're grown. Well, grown is like 11 or 12. So they get married at 9, they don't have sex for 2, 3 years. They're still only 11, 12 years old. They want you to think that Prabhupada got married when he was like, 11, 12, 13, and his wife, whatever. The story is weird. And then they didn't have sex until they were both, they were grown. No. Prabhupada spills the beans. Prabhupada spills the beans himself. He says, my wife was 11 years old. I was 22. He says it himself. And I don't care when, where, anything. Again, Prabhupada put in his books, he said that's the Vedic way. Girls must be married. You don't go against what Prabhupada says. So when the guru comes along and says, hey, I got a disciple, he wants to get married, you got a 13-year-old girl, let's marry him. Let me get him married. they're gonna be, by the time that little girl is 11, 12 years old, they're gonna be so fully brainwashed. They're gonna be like, yeah, here's my girl, here's my daughter. Go marry. She can go marry a 25-year-old guy that wants a young wife, young little girl wife. Like the girl was saying in the video. He was telling her, "Oh, you're not gonna be able to walk for a week. I'm gonna just do this and do that. Oh, you're gonna be so." Who talks like that to a little girl? Grown man. It's grown man. He's gonna marry. He's gonna marry. He's gonna marry this 13-year-old girl. And before he actually gets the okay to marry her and take her to India, he's taunting her, telling her how the sex is gonna be so rough and for so long. She's not gonna be able to walk. She's gonna be sore and all this stuff. And she's a 13-year-old girl who's already been raped and molested. Where do these guys get this idea that you talk to a 13-year-old girl like that? There's no love in that. That's not a loving relationship. Well, they learn it from Prabhupada. He didn't have a loving relationship with his wife. He didn't give a fuck about her. Women are less intelligent. They like to be raped. You can beat a dog, a drum, and a woman. All of these things. It all leads to this shit in the head, to where you got a 25-year-old, 26-year-old man talking to a 13-year-old girl that he's gonna marry and take to India and pretty much just molest and rape her. And he's totally fine with him. And it's totally fine with the girl's mother. You can tell me that's friggin' normal? And I'm going to sit here and argue with some guy who's going to tell me that these stories are real when this child marriage and pedophilia and this crap is going on, and this guy wants to argue about some friggin' caveman story about an imaginary king. I mean, you see how friggin' crazy these people are? $400 million sexual abuse lawsuit. Friggin' gurus molesting kids left, right, and center. Gurus running off with underage girls, molesting little boys, raping little boys. You got a cult founder who raped an 11-year-old girl when he was 22 years old. And this guy wants to argue about a friggin' imaginary king that never existed, and he wants to debate whether whether Bilbo Baggins was real or not. We got child marriage, molestations, rape, all kinds of shit going on, and you want to argue about Bilbo Baggins? Whether friggin' Maharaj Pariksit and Sukadeva Goswami were real? People who lived 5,000 years ago? Like, lived before the pharaohs? I mean, get real. I mean, these are real issues. These are real kids in real danger that have been traumatized, that have been harmed, women that have been abused, men that have gone crazy. Obviously, this cult causes craziness. Otherwise, why are these gurus doing all these crazy things? Why is everybody in this cult doing crazy shit and protecting pedophiles? Nobody. Who does that? Who protects pedophiles? I mean, people turn in their own family when they're friggin' attacking kids and molesting little kids. You go, Uncle Bob belongs to freaking Uncle Bob is. Don't take your kids around Uncle Bob. He's a sex offender. But this cult can't figure that out. They don't turn their pedophiles in. They don't care. Let them wander around the community. And they know. So many people in LA knew that there were multiple child molesters, including the temple president. Temple president knew. School teacher knew. The book guy knew. He had kids. He had little kids that played with my daughter. He knew. Nobody told me. They all protected that guy by staying quiet. How many other little girls and little boys did he get a hold of that were too scared to say anything? I'm serious. It's friggin' insane. And that's just in LA. I don't even want to think of what it's like in India, in Mayapur, in Vrindavan, in anywhere. Those little kids are not safe. They are not safe. I thought my kid was safe. I'm telling you, I was right there. Right there. I mean, I'm not sitting in school with her all day. But I was 2 buildings over. Dropped her off in the morning, picked her up at night. I would never have thought that anyone would ever have an opportunity to get their hands on my daughter. It boggles my mind. And that's why I know how dangerous it is. When I look back on it, I was in disbelief at the time. I couldn't believe it happened. I could not believe it happened. And when I look back on it now, it's even more disbelief. Like, how? But I also know now there were multiple molesters in the neighborhood. And no one said anything. And no one, and I didn't know. Everybody that should have known knew. And everybody that could have warned somebody, those people knew. Nobody ever said anything to me, because I would have been breaking their oath of silence. So don't let anybody out there think that you're safe. Your kid's safe. I thought my kid was safe. Surely if there's a child molester in the neighborhood, the temple president would have told me, or the head pujari would have told me, or the school teacher would have told me, or the head book guy would have told me. Or any of those people would have told me. Surely they would have told. No. No. That's crazy. There's so many kids running around at them. So many kids running around. And to think that there was multiple predators just allowed to just live there. But if you smoke a cigarette, they'll kick you out. And they'll let everybody know that you're smoking a cigarette. Or if they see you at McDonald's eating a hamburger, they'll kick you out and let everybody know that you were eating a hamburger. But if you molest a kid, they don't tell nobody. And they don't kick you out. How fucking crazy is that? Well, we can't kick him out. We can't kick him out. He hasn't been convicted of anything. He hasn't been convicted of anything. So, it's not like we can just kick somebody out. Yeah, you kick people out all the time. You have all kinds of rules. Can't eat meat, can't smoke cigarettes, can't drink beer, can't smoke pot, can't have sex. You get all kinds of rules. But child predator is not on that list of things you can't do. And that's why I'm trying to tell people. So I'm trying to tell people how dangerous it is. You new people, that if you're watching this video, and I know you Hare Krishnas keep popping in and out, in and out. Any of you new people, you got kids, I'm telling you. For the sake of your kids, you've got to get, because not only are they in danger of being molested, if they're female, once they turn 11, 12 years old, Guru's gonna say, hey, I need a girl. Because these guys don't want to be celibate their whole life. They join, they do a couple years without any sex. They get horny, they want to have sex. They go to their guru, they go, hey, I want to get married. Okay, let me see what I can do. And then they go look for some little girl. So you join this cult, you have some kids. I'm telling you. Kids are in danger. It's disgusting. It's friggin' disgusting. And they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Maharaj Pariksit and whether he was real or not. Or Sukadeva Goswami and this friggin' imaginary parampara. Like there was a guy with 4 heads growing out of a lotus flower. And he spoke, supposedly he spoke to Narada, who floats around in outer space, playing a friggin' guitar or something. Floats in outer space. He goes from planet to planet. He just swims in outer space. And then he told Vyasadeva, another imaginary person that didn't exist. And then Vyasadeva told Madhvacharya or whoever, and he told Yamunacharya or somebody. And then Yamunacharya told, I don't know, Jayanidhi, Jayatirtha, Jayanidhi, I don't know. All the way down. Those people aren't real. Those people didn't exist. I mean, the names probably exist, but there's no. You gotta tell me that there was a friggin' Narada floating around in outer space, and he came down and he spoke it to some Vyasadeva living on a mountain. I mean, come on. You got little kids being 25 or more of these little kids grew up and have deleted themselves. I went to one of the funerals. Like a 17, 18-year-old kid. Molested in the Gurukul school. Molested from one time when he was a little kid, growing up. Now he was 17. Killed himself. $25 stories just like that. Probably more. There was just 3 last year. 3 more last year, 2024. 3 more adult, grown kids that were abused in the school. This cult is no joke. This is no joke. This is a dangerous. For not only warp people's minds, kids are in danger. Women are in danger. Well, these abusive women-hating men who think that women are nothing but property. They're stupid, foolish. Women are less intelligent. They got a small brain, like Prabhupada says. Women are too stupid to see that men are taking advantage of them. Because women want to be in control of their own destiny. Women want to be doctors and lawyers and whatever. They want to have control of their own destiny. They get married. If they don't, they don't. Women want to decide for themselves what they want to do with their life. They want to have kids. They don't want to have kids. They don't want that. They don't agree with that. Hare Krishnas aren't for that. They think women are stupid for wanting that. They think the women are dumb for not wanting to just be subservient to a man. That a real smart woman just realizes that she's stupid and just submits to whatever a man wants her to do. That's the real sign of a smart woman, is to just. That's how these men think. That's what women in this cult are dealing with. And they're all brainwashed. The men are brainwashed. The women are brainwashed into thinking that they're stupid. So they think that they're stupid. So then when the men treat them like shit, the women go, yep, I'm a dumb woman, so I deserve it. So I think I'm disgusted enough already. I'm gonna end it here because I can't take any more of this crap. And the fact that this is still going on to this day, right now somewhere, well, more than one, but right now somewhere, women and children are suffering because of this cult. Families are suffering because of this cult. There are there are families that are like, where's my kid? My kid joined this cult, and I haven't seen him in years. He thinks I'm a demon for eating meat and playing golf or whatever. That's how they think. There's a lot of families that are like, where's my kid? Just like Scientology. Where's my kid? Meanwhile, the kid's in India milking a cow somewhere. Left his job, quit his job, sold his car, sold his stuff, went off to India. And then, chances are, 5 years, they go, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. And there's so many who join, and they become the monk in the orange, and they're like, oh, I'm this spiritual man now. I'm Munkenstein or something, whatever they think they are. They've created this monkster, and then they do that for like a year or two. They go to India, and they go around. They're preaching and selling books, and they're doing that, and then it just, the excitement wears off, or something happens, and they go, I want to get married, and then because it's all bullshit. You gotta be such a dysfunctional person. You gotta really have something off to stick with this cult through all the bullshit, and even after you've woken, you've like, to just keep plugging along and thinking this is all. You gotta really. A lot of them, it's like a business, so they're gonna stick with the business. It's like it's it pays the rent, so to speak. So there's no turning it off now. Like I said, you're 65, 70 years old in this cult, and you've been still selling books in the DMV parking lot or whatever. You just stay in it. You've wasted your life. You're doing nothing. The fuck you gonna do now? You just stay in it. But all you young people that are in there, you young people are gonna be in it for five years, and then you're like, yeah, I don't know if I can hang with all this. But most people, I see it all the time on the internet, people that are like, yeah, I couldn't follow, so I left, or it was too much of this, too much of that, but they don't know all the bullshit. They're like, maybe I don't want to be a monk anymore, maybe I don't want to be a spiritual guy anymore, maybe I want to go, I want to go back and join my band again, or I want to go back and play basketball again, whatever it is. But a lot of them do that, and they don't even know that they were in such a dangerous cult. They just stuck their toe in the water and they pulled it. They never got in. They were never like swimming and diving off the diving board or nothing. They just stuck their feet in, kind of got maybe their ankles, and then just said, yeah, nah, I don't want to go swimming, and they got out. They never realized what was really in there. So, and I'm here to let you know ahead of time what it is. What it really is. And so, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stay away from this Prabhupada guy. Stay away from the Hare Krishnas and their books. Just stay away from the Govinda's restaurants and their food. There's nothing in the food that's gonna brainwash you. but your kids will be in danger if you take your kids anywhere near a Hare Krishna temple. Just, it's not a safe place for kids. It's just not. It's just not. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day, great night, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are. Have some great luck, and stay out of a cult. And let's watch this movie, this commercial. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
I was in the bar for a drink or two. I met a girl named Mary Lou. Her blue jeans were so tight and cut so low. Those jeans were stretched across her butt. On a belt she wore a rabbit's foot, and I couldn't help but see her camel toe. Mary Lou had a camel toe.
means that
และกลับเข้าสู่ My Man All Time btk1radio.com Whatever, I'll do what I want.
You're listening to Mike's Madhouse on btk1radio.com.
Worried about God. I'm afraid of what he might do if anything should happen to me.
God, but he's a robot. Without you, what could he do?
There's no limit to what he could do. He could destroy the earth. If anything should happen to me, you must go to God. You must say these words.
Dumalang, video Zuzi, and ready to Mike's Madhouse, more bkk1radio.com.
And now it's time for the Dumb American on Mike's Madhouse.
Back to dope tunes and stupid talk with White Boy Mike on Mike's Madhouse.